Alright, peace family. Yo, what's up? Alright, so in this video, this is a series in regards to self-publishing, self-publishing a book, publishing a book, writing a book, organizing a book, releasing a book, marketing a book, In this video, I'm going to be talking about legality, so just some of the processing that you got to keep in mind, like the legal processing you got to keep in mind when you go through this process. First and foremost, just have the book done, have the writing done, have the love put in the writing. Just have the writing done. You know, the legalities is something you got to keep in mind. It goes back to the entrepreneurial mindset, but most of the legalities aren't too complex to be worrying about, but it's something good to keep in mind when you go through this path of releasing your book, right? And especially with these legalities, I would recommend you do your own outside research just to kind of see the background of it, you know, see why it may be important to you and just how to apply it within your process, right? But we're gonna go over some things here. So the first off is the ISBN. So the ISBN is the International Standard Book Number. Every book or most books get this, and what it does, it enters your book into the book database, you know, the whole book collection, right? And it collects metadata, and that's good for marketing purposes, just to kind of see, you know, who's buying, where they buying, stuff like that, right? So as you can see here, free ISBN. This is offered with most, if not all, of the self-publishing websites that are out there. Whether you go through Kindle Direct Publishing, Lulu, or Ingram Sparks, they will offer you their own free ISBN, right? And you can also get a paid ISBN. So I'm gonna talk about the difference right now. So with a free ISBN, it's good. Obviously, it's free, right? But for me, I was trying to build my brand. I'm trying to, you know, be as professional or be on top of it as possible. So I went with the paid ISBN. But the free ISBN is definitely good starting off. But just keep in mind that they own the imprint, right? So the imprint, I believe, is just, and them being listed as the publisher, that's like you know what I'm saying? They kind of own it, right? It won't necessarily be 100% your independent creation. So that's just something to keep in mind, you know. But like I said, I went with the paid ISBN. So with the paid ISBN, you'll be listed as the publisher, and you can create like whatever, like through the website I went through. I'm gonna show it in a second. But you could write, you know, what it is. Like if you have you don't even have to have a publishing company, but you could write a publishing whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just wrote my name as the publisher and kind of did it like that. But you'll be listed as a publisher. You can put whatever name you want as a publisher. Like you create a company out of thin air. You know what I'm saying? And there's more freedom in how you go about distributing your product. From research I did, I think if you were to get your author copies or just order books to sell yourself, and you brought it to like a mom and pop bookstore and put it for them to sell on consignment, I think with the ISBN being attached to like one of the self-publishing websites, it'll kind of conflict with how they do their business and how you will get, you know, your money and do your business. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something to keep in mind, especially if you trying to sell it yourself and if you're trying to build a brand. You know, I would go with the pay ISBN if you're trying to build a brand. But before I get to the websites to go to, right? If you get free ISBN, you can always take down the book and edit it later to include the ISBN, right? So if you get the free ISBN at a later point, you could just unlist your book, re-upload it with you as the publisher, right? And so, like I wrote here, free ISBN is if you starting off and writing as a hobby, or you just trying to get your feet wet. And the paid is good if you want to build the brand, right? If you want to build a brand, keep doing this, and, you know, kind of just have it already secure. So what I did was get 10 ISBNs, so I know when I drop future books, I already got these ISBNs. I bought the 10 ISBN, and that came out to $295, and I'm going to show you the website I went to right now, right? So again, with the paid ISBN, you'll be listed as a publisher, more freedom, right? The websites that sell ISBN, Barker and myidentifiers.com, right? One ISBN is $125, 10 ISBN is $295. So what you would do is search up Barker, right? Just search Google, show you its website. Buy ISBNs, right? And it'll take you to the page where you could do it. Another thing to keep in mind, each type of book you decide to make, whether it's a paperback, ebook, or audiobook, all three of them will need its own unique ISBN number. So you need a individual ISBN number for the paperback, you'll need an individual ISBN number for the ebook, and you'll need a whole completely new, unique, individual ISBN number for an audiobook if you were to do an audiobook. So you can't use the same ISBN number for both a paperback and an ebook, or a paperback and an audiobook, or all three of them at the same time. You will need a individual ISBN for each one. That's something to keep in mind. That's why I went with the 10 instead of the 1 ISBN, right? So I got the 10 ISBN for $295. Like I was saying, you go to Barker, create an account, then you just, okay, this ISBN will be attached to my paperback. This ISBN will be attached to my ebook. So as you can see here, 10 ISBNs for $295, 1 ISBN for $125, 100 ISBNs for $575, 1,000 ISBNs for $1,500. For America, I believe this is the only route you can go to buy ISBNs, right? So they kind of have a monopoly on it. But as you can see here, Barker Identifier Services, and the website is myidentifiers.com, right? So why should I buy an ISBN? It gives you some information here, likelihood to be found, essential information, links, right? It's the metadata, marketing, and distribution of your title, right? Correct use of the ISBN allows different product forms, and all of this stuff. So when you do your own research, definitely go through the My Identifiers website and just review this, and just look up on Google ISBN and its importance, right? It's not the most severely important, so that's why if you starting off, it's good to get the free one. But the paid is good if you're trying to build a brand, but it's not something that you should be stressing off rip, especially if you're writing your first book and trying to release it. Don't really worry about it. I bought it just because I wanted to build my brand and just have it secure for my future books, future publications, and all that, right? All right, so that's the ISBN. Like I said, the free ISBN is offered by Amazon, Lulu, Ingram Spark, and with whatever other self-publishing websites that are out there. There's a lot of them, but these are the main 3 that I found from my research and that most people was using. But if you get the free ISBN, they'll own the imprint and they'll be listed as the publisher. With the paid ISBN, like I said, 1 for $125, 10 for $295, you'll be listed as the publisher, and more freedom in how you go about it through, like, if you're trying to sell it yourself and put it on consignment at certain bookstores, etc., right? Alright, so legalities continue. Apart from the ISBN, something you might also be curious about is copyright. Should I get my book copyright? Is somebody going to steal my book? Most likely, no. Nobody's going to steal your book. If somebody were to steal your content, that's a lot of work that they doing, and just think about the energy they putting out there, so, and that just look whack. That just be straight whack, right? But the copyright, just keep this in mind. Your book is copyrighted once you take the idea from your brain and you put it on paper. It's already copywritten, right? It is your intellectual property, right? For further legal protections, though, you can pay $35 to $55 on copyright.gov. That's the U.S. Copyright Office. But keep in mind, I didn't go through the U.S. Copyright Office. If your name gets big enough, then definitely go for it. But starting off, it's your intellectual property. It's your work. It's your creation. You know what I'm saying? Don't be stressing about somebody taking it. So that's with copyright, right? But another thing you can do, and this is what I did, and I got this idea from a friend of mine who kind of inspired me to go about the self-publishing process. Mariah Barber, she has her book of Mics and Pens and Guides and Other College Courses, and so she was kind of the one who, I asked questions about on how she released her book. The first person I ever knew who released their own book, as a poet. And I asked them a lot of questions, and one thing I saw in their book was that they had an all rights reserved page. Most books have this. So as you can see here, this is something that you could copy this exact format. This is exactly what I did. All I changed was my name. All I changed was the contact. I put my own email, and then obviously the ISBN number will be different for your book, right? And you could copy this exact format. This is what I did, but essentially, and you would write this yourself. Essentially, all rights reserved. It's showing that you're the copyright owner. Again, it's your copyright because it's your intellectual property, and it'll scare away people who would even think about trying to steal your work, right? But it's the end. So you'll show that you have it copywritten. You'll put the little C logo there. You can just search it up on Google and copy and paste, right? And so I wrote it here. all rights reserved. No form of this publication may be reproduced in all these formats except for brief quotations and reviews of articles, but this can't be done without the prior permission of the author. And if they want to contact you, you put your own contact, your own email, right? And this, I just put who the cover was by, and then obviously my ISBN. So this you can do. This is definitely something to keep in mind, right? To scare away anybody who would even think about stealing your work, but also to give you that comfort and also professional. Most books have it. Most books have an all rights reserved page. Most books have a page where they show who, what the copyright goes to, etc., etc. So this is what I did. I was inspired by Mariah, and it's good to have an all rights reserved page in the beginning of your book. So I formatted it after her book, and like I said, all I changed was my name, my email for contact, and my book ISBN number, which your ISBN number will obviously be different. So that's legality, something to keep in mind, something not to stress yourself over. Make sure 100% most of the effort goes towards your creation, goes towards your writing, right? So we talked about ISBN, copyright, intellectual property, and we talked about an all rights reserved page. And for me, that's the most legal, kind of terminology I had to focus on with my book. And, after that, you should be golden. So peace, y'all. Stay safe. Pissy. Hubcap.